For just one time, I would take the Northwest Passage to find...
I'm Derek Seabrook. We're in Inuvik Airport waiting to go on the cases trip. And at the start, I was pretty excited about it. Get to meet new people, go on an icebreaker, find out about what they're doing up there. Get to see where Franklin died. And just waiting to meet the other people right now. Just hanging on here.
Hey there, my name is Jack Miller. I'm from Inuvik, NWT. I've been living up here for about 13 years. I'm relatively excited about this icebreaker trip. My teacher, Mr. Surrey, asked me if I wanted to, and I said, sure. Next thing you know, I'm signing forms. I'm relatively excited about it. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Angela Wilkie. I'm from Tuck, and I'm excited about this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and can't wait to meet the other kids.
The CASES program, or Canadian Arctic Shelf Exchange Study Program, has provided a unique opportunity to high school students to visit the Canadian Coast Guard Research Icebreaker, CCGS Amundsen, situated in Franklin Bay in the Canadian Arctic. The program leader, Lucette Barber, organized and ran an incredible educational and experiential program for the 9 youth that participated. She was joined by Dr. Alan Grant of UBC, Principal Candice Clouthier of Chetwynd, BC, and teacher Clint Surrey of Inuvik, Northwest Territories. This program is called Schools on Board. After months of only email contact, the 9 students, 3 from Manitoba, 3 from British Columbia, and 3 from the Northwest Territories, met as one large group in Inuvik just prior to leaving for the Amundsen in a Twin Otter aircraft. You could feel the excitement of everyone as we caught our first glimpse of the icebreaker from the plane, the ship's lights making it glow across the ice. You can imagine the shocked gasps as the door of the plane opened and we felt for the first time the minus 50 degrees Celsius air temperature. Despite the excellent winter survival gear we were wearing, it is still very cold.
Welcome aboard. My name is Stéphane Julien. I'm the commanding officer of this ship. I'd like to present you also Jody Deming, who's the chief scientist. We're making a pretty good team.
We are a good team.
We are a good team.
On board, the students took part in academic lectures of the various topics of research and exploration taking place in this leg of the CASES mission. They also participated in many laboratory-based activities and field studies. We were taken on tours of the boat's facilities, including the research labs. This included a tour and lab activity in the moon pool room. This room allows scientists continual sheltered access to the ocean through a large opening in the hull of the ship. We witnessed the launching of the Rosette, a device for collecting water samples from multiple depths or multiple samples from the same depth. There were 24 independent sample containers on the Rosette. On our particular run of the Rosette was lowered down to a depth of 200 meters and collected samples at the 100 and 200 meter mark. The samples brought up from this demonstration were used by the students and researchers for ongoing projects. The students spent time using scientific instruments and in one lab even made their own temperature monitor.
One of the reasons we did this activity, and when I started to see is, sometimes these guys have to create, just go with what they've got. They have, they'll be out here in the middle of nowhere. They can't just call home. They can't run over to Home Hardware and get what they need. And sometimes you have to just go by the seat of your pants, right? And try to make do. And we've heard many times already that some scientists, things are breaking down. And so one of the skills, I think, of being a scientist in the field is the ability to be sort of MacGyverish. You see a problem and you try to figure it out and make it work. And so this is one of the reasons for doing this activity is to give you guys some hands-on on how to build some of these.
Basically, what you want to do, if you guys read that the lab outline, you want to create one of these temperature sensors that we're going to install today and then we're going to measure it every day. So every day, and then record it in our book, and at the end of the experiment, or at the end of this study here, then we're going to look at the data and see how it compares between you guys, and also how yours works. So if you guys can start designing your sensor, do you have any questions before you get going?
We might as well do 4 of them because
A lot of them, they don't use that we have white.
we'll have
Make your measurements.
Let's figure out.
the bottom, right, where the ice is. And then we want like a little bit up, like 5 centimeters up. And then like another 10 centimeters up, and then 15 centimeters, and then unless I'm correct if I'm wrong, but I don't.
Okay, yeah, 6 is okay. So, 6. Yep. This one doesn't count.
Yeah.
This is like a little pin. And then this is like, say your ice right here. Okay?
Like this whole thing isn't working.
Okay.
Just didn't want it outside of the snow.
Okay, but yeah, this will be up here. It's less deep, but do you guys get it?
Yeah, the only thing is, I think hooking the wires on the machine, you can see it's pretty finicky, right? Pretty small work. So it'd probably be better to get like that very bottom one, right next to that.
Oh, you can get it off? I think this would be hard to make less on.
But I think if it's sticking out a bit, it's just might be easier to work with.
So you just have it sticking out more. Or the wires like
The wires.
coming up. The thing with that though is
This one's gonna go in now.
I mean, and the copper thing is very big.
And then
And I'll build it.
stick it halfway in the snow and have one temperature level and then 2 below and then 2 above.
Right now we're just building it. We have to have our wood stick right, and then we have to drill a hole through it, and then have each one sticking out far enough so you don't get mixed up temperature readings, just far enough to the same. And you gotta have all on the same length like this so you get accurate readings.
For the next couple of days that we're here, we're going to be going out and we're going to be taking the readings. We're going to use a voltmeter to take the readings.
Okay.
And we're going to be recording them. And then at the end of our stay, we're going to compare them and see how it goes.
Yes. Is there? It's not. Yeah. It's you with the pliers. Take the edge and twist them.
It's just that we divided it into 3 numbers.
Okay.
So they're about 3 inches apart from each other.
Okay.
I'm trying to take the wire.
With the wire.
Venturing outside off the ship is not to be taken lightly. At all times, you must have a wildlife monitor present just in case wildlife such as a polar bear or Arctic fox should approach you. Even as our group planted their newly made devices, we had 2 wildlife monitors looking out for our safety. As the students plant their instruments, they are careful to follow the same technique scientists use in removing the snow intact and to not disturb the surrounding snow. These sort of factors can influence the readings that they take. Our activities included a visit to one of the base camps about 1 kilometer from the ship. At this location, weather readings and other experiments were taking place. It was also an opportunity to speak with one of the Inuvialuit wildlife monitors from Paulatuk, Noel Green.
Everything up here is important to us. We live off the land, the sea, and we try and try and keep it as it always is. When we go out camping, we take back everything. When we're out hunting, we take back everything. And when you see out here, it looks like there isn't anything out here, but it is alive. I know back in the 80s, we were always freezing up by October. Now in the 2004 now, this year we had a real late freeze up.
Have you noticed any changes in that sense?
I haven't been out polar bear hunting this year yet, but from what I hear from other hunters, they haven't been having very much luck. The one they got was really thin. Real thin polar bear. I don't know why.
The students also had the opportunity to see some of the creative instruments designed and adapted by the scientists to conduct their own research. Even though the scientists planned for cold weather, a lot of the instruments still needed to be modified to work under the extreme conditions. Some of the solutions were very creative and adapted using whatever was on hand. Unlike working in the south, you can't just walk down the street to a Radio Shack or a lab supplier and get what you need. You have to adapt and work with what is on board the ship. Because of this, the scientists have really worked together and helped each other make their instruments work, make their experiments work. It has created an incredible team atmosphere. The students were also able to participate directly in some of the experiments with these interesting devices. In another outing, Noel Green spoke to the students about relationships of animals on the ice.
The little white foxes, they follow the polar bear. When the polar bear gets the seal, basically he eats only the fat and leaves the carcass. Only time he eats the carcass is if he's real hungry, eh? But he always only eats the fat and leaves the carcass, and these little foxes always follows them. They clean out the seal carcass. So little fox is pretty smart. He knows where he's going to get his next meal from. Yeah. To attack the polar bear, not unless he's a rabbit. That's the only time he'll try and tackle. But other than that, the polar bear and fox, they're both partners. When you're traveling out in the ice, when you start seeing fox tracks going one way, you know you're going to run into a polar bear trap. Around here it's hard to say because the little fox is looking for a little scrap from the ship area. That's why there's so many little foxes running around now. I counted 8 yesterday, just out in the ice.
Now I'm wondering, since there are those scraps behind over there, the foxes tend to leave the polar bears and go over there. Does that necessarily bug the polar bears? Or do they
No, it doesn't. Doesn't bother the polar bear whatsoever if the foxes leave them. There's always other foxes that'll latch onto them. They go good together though. It's hard to believe, but that's the way it is, nature.
Quite a balance, a cycle.
It's a balancing thing. I can't describe it. And I've seen that all my life. You see foxes. You know, you're middle of the nowhere out in the ice. You know you're gonna run into polar bear tracks somewhere.
Does the polar bear ever get frightened or mad if too many foxes follow the polar bear?
No, the polar bear, he's the king out here. Doesn't matter how many little foxes gather around him. All he does is eat his fill. When he's done,
I told the
little buddies come. He just walks away from the carcass. The little foxes stay going. Do you have anything else?
No, that was most of my questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
On this particular day, we had an opportunity to ride in the BR. It's a sort of a multi-track, all-terrain vehicle that they use to help create a temporary road across the ice, as well as a larger transportation vehicle that has a heated interior which protects equipment as they move it. Today we're going to go launch a pump that will be lowered to a specific depth, pump water through it, and collect different samples to be used in the lab. The day came when we had to head back to Inuvik. The winds rose and a blizzard was coming towards the ship. It was an incredible sight to see the ship in the incoming storm. Everyone was sad to leave the crew and scientists. They made our students all feel welcome and a part of the case's experience. This won't be an experience that they will forget. Upon return to Inuvik, a different form of learning took place. The students made a brief presentation to Nellie Cornier, the head of the Inuvialuit Development Corporation, and she in turn explained her role with the Inuvialuit Development Corporation and its role for the Inuvialuit people.
A program called Schools on Board. It's a small part of what's called CASES. And basically what CASES is about is basically taking students from anywhere in Canada, bringing them to Franklin Bay, which is approximately 120 kilometers north of Paulatuk. There was the Coast Guard ship Amundsen, and there was a bunch of scientists from Ukraine, Japan,
Canada.
Russia, the States, here in Canada. What Schools on Board want us to do is to basically go in, see what the scientists are doing, and interact and learn about what they do so we can get people more involved with what scientists are doing, because sometimes people are just like, oh, they're scientists, they're just going to play with the new instruments and never tell us about it. And sure enough, they brought us in just to show us what it's all about and to bring back that interest into science.
So it'll be with settlement region, so the land claim area takes in from Alaska, the north slope of the Yukon, following generally just behind Inuvik, and down to taking in Paulatuk, over to Victoria Island, Holman, and those islands, and Sachs Harbor, Banks Island. And that whole area is called the Inuvialu Settlement Region. And in 1984, after 10 years of negotiations, a land claim was settled. Within that land claim, we have some areas that are owned by the Inuvialu subsurface. Some areas are owned by. So this is a Inuvialu settlement region, and it's a subject of the Inuvialu final agreement. And beneficiaries are enrolled, and whether you live in the settlement region or this region, all the Inuvialu, if there's an education program, if you live in Egypt, or which we have somebody living in Egypt and Greece, you know, so they all apply for educational programs that we offer. But this is our region here, and these areas are lands that are owned. Some of them are subsurface and surface lands, and so if there's anything found in those areas, we benefit from those resources that are available in there. Most of the land that you see that are, other than the park, this is a park, so we've got your national park in the North Yukon, which we promoted, and a park outside of Tuktuk Lake that's close to Paulatuk where you were, and then there's a Banks Island Park, Paulatuk. So we have three major parks, but unfortunately people find it too far to come up here to visit them, so it's a park that doesn't really have a lot of tourists right now. But it's a wonderful area because if the Mackenzie River flows into the delta and feeds into the general Beaufort Delta region, which is very abundant in whales and seals and all different types of fish. And then the major migratory bird population goes up to Banks Island on this one channel here. So if you do any kind of studies or research, you'll find that within Canada there are a number of flyways for all the geese and the ducks. They all move up to the north.
During our time in Inuvik, we went to the visitor center where students had an opportunity to see other aspects of northern life, including wildlife we may not have seen, and hearing some traditional music. The students had the opportunity to try a more traditional form of transportation, dog sledding.
I am a man, don't tell me what to do now. I've lived enough years and I'll find my own way. Canoe all the rivers, I'll hike all the mountains, with someone to share all my dreams. Into the Northland, are you coming with me?
And to experience many traditional foods such as whitefish, beluga whale, caribou, muskox, and muktuk.
Caribou wander on the tundra.
We all took the opportunity to try on some of the traditional clothes made of caribou, wolf, and wolverine. Here we have Candace trying on a traditional woman's parka, one that would be used by drum dancers. This is a ceremonial parka. Its face is lined with wolverine. This helps protect your face from frostbite. And the sunburst pattern is made of wolf hair, which helps protect you from the wind. We couldn't make a trip out to Tuktoyaktuk without having a quick view of the Pingos. The students were able to participate in a storytelling by a local elder, Rosie Albert, who spoke to the students about life in the north, stories she heard as she grew up, and learned more about Arctic clothing and how it was designed. The students then followed in the Aboriginal tradition of learning and brought their new knowledge back to the school community at presentations to Tuktoyaktuk, Inuvik, and to the schools and the communities the students are from.
Turn yourself northward where beauty abounds, a place to come into your own. While the bands bloom on the winding ground, skies are alive where the swans and geese fly. Red sunsets reflect off the chill country waters. These are what set my soul.
It's been a fun time for this trip, and I was gonna miss everybody.
It was really fun, and it went beyond my expectation.
After 2 weeks, the northern students said goodbye to the students from the south. It has been an incredible adventure. All are going to remember this experience for a lifetime.
Now the time has come to leave you one more time. Let me kiss you, then close your eyes. I'll be on my way. Dream about the days to come when I won't have to leave alone. About the time I won't have to say